Are you aware that OCTO, OCTO, a 40 bagger in the last few days, last trade $35, aka more than cut in half, is an infamous spinoff of BBIG, Vinco Ventures. And the last I checked, 24 hours ago, Ted Farnsworth, former CEO of that company, is still in jail, awaiting trial in Miami in the next 6 to 9 months. Allow me to briefly unpack that for you. June 29th, 2022, Cryptyde, former symbol TYDE, was spun off from BBIG. Now, it wasn't Ted directly, but it was the same company. They put lipstick on another pig April 4th of 2023 when Cryptyde became 8, aka OCTO. And then, of course, in the last few days, Dan Ives comes up with $250 million worth of the WorldCoin, Sam Altman's OpenAI shtick. And the stock goes from $1.45 to as high as 83. Owned at a drop at least 65% the last time I looked. But before I go anywhere, ISPC in this morning and the day before in the mid-60s, out near $1. But as I came on to do this fucking video, halted for the third time at $2.60. And while 99% of you will not watch this video to the end, I'm telling you right now, you're witnessing the catalyst for the next major bear market. This is probably going to be my last video for a while. Good news for most of you, I'm sure. Let me start off with a little bit of housekeeping, and then I'm going to unpack exactly what these investment banks that are bringing, in many cases, scams to the table to take advantage of their fucking stock, do these pipes, private placements, and then bail the fuck out, SBAT, BMNR, I could keep going. And 3 of the stocks that we're currently trading out of 7 actually have a treasury play. In fact, I just bought one back for the 3rd time, starts with C as in Charlie, this morning. But my eyes are wide open as to what's going on. And if you give me the next 10 or 15 minutes, so will yours. However, inside the Discord, you must put a credit card on file by midnight tonight. And while most of you, if not all, are giving me the big fuck you with not a single reaction to that post an hour ago, not one of you's getting back in unless there's a fucking card on file by midnight. I'm tired of dealing with a bunch of clowns that have fake names or false expectations that you can turn $100 into $1 million within 6 months to a year. I don't fucking think so. I said a prayer to the Almighty last night and again this morning. Show me the way, because I'm having a bit of a tough time figuring out what my purpose is with this fucking Discord that's 262 wins and only 19 losses, including ISPC. 50% or close to it overnight. Yeah, but you could have had 150% if you waited 30 minutes. Actually, less than that. And as I just mentioned, it's halted, last I checked, at 260. Mark my words, closes in and around $1.25 to a half, if not lower. I now realize I want to know who I'm fighting for 12 hours a day. Twice, now 3 times, we've tried to get to 500 strong. The first time we failed was the crack and rebuy in the summer of 24. That's obvious. And even though we got out way before the fucking crash, we then had a 5-month hiatus off of YouTube this spring. That coincided with a 50% increase in our price, and rightly so. And half the business, almost 300,000 G's walked out the door, some of them with a push from yours truly. And I'm giving the same fucking push to those of you that don't have a credit card on file. That was a dumb idea, or was it? It made me realize that if you don't have a real fucking name with a real credit card and a real interest in getting rich and hanging out with yours truly and a couple hundred friends of mine in Vegas next fucking year, it's not for you. Get the fuck out the door and don't let it hit you on the ass when you're going out. I welcome the clowns, the cucks over on Clown Town. Draw some more pictures of a bigger cock on my face. I know what I stand for. It's called getting rich. Filthy fucking rich. 10 grand's worth more than 130 G's in the last 2 years. Have any of you done that on your own? The hell you have. So you're not getting in the #1 stock trading Discord, or you're not staying in unless you're the real fucking deal. And if you can't show up and show some level of respect every once in a while, I'm going to throw your fucking ass out. And if you got a problem with that, I live in Atlanta. You should know that by now. I was a broker from 1993 to 2007. I've been in the weeds, made all the mistakes, know all the scams, so you don't have to get burned by them. And I'm telling you right now, what took place with OCTO, which is a former spinoff of BBIG, is a setup. It's going to be the major catalyst of the next crash in the fucking stock market. And while I'm insanely bullish over the next 10 years, we've got hell to pay from what they're doing right now. They are actively seeking out, and I'm talking about the investment bankers, companies that have little to no future. FORD, Forward Industries, that was a brown bag deal when I was a broker in the 1990s. They were literally paying people under a different management team to buy the stock. A few reverse splits later, it's a cell phone case company that's going nowhere for decades. Along comes an investment banker in the last 30 days and says, you know what? You just reverse split your stock. You don't really have much of a future. The current management's been there trying to make a show out of it for the last 4 or 5 years and fucking failed. So I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to create a treasury play. We're going to give you a chance to exit on a golden fucking parachute. We're going to drive the stock from $3 or $4 to as high as 38. Last trade 25 and on its way to 15 and then even lower than that. OCTO, $2 stock, less than that. Spun off into Cryptyde, spun off again into OCTO from BBIG. That fucking scam goes from 145 to 83, gets cut in half and going lower. They are actively looking for companies that are either former scams, most of which have had newly consolidated shares. ISPC is an exception. It was down under $1. We were buying it yesterday and again this morning. It fucking doubled. And then I haven't looked at it since, but I'm telling you right now, it's going to drop $1 within 10 minutes, probably before this video is seen by most of you. What happens 6 months, 9 months, a year from now, or maybe even sooner, when they've gone all the way through just about every NASDAQ company that's willing to listen? And we've got 2 piles of dog shit. The fucking companies that don't belong to be public. Like, I don't know, FORD that's gone nowhere for 30, 40 years. Or OCTO, again, a former spinoff of one of the biggest fucking scams in history. And while you see legitimate names, and even the great Tom Lee threw $20 million at OCTO, who got fucked? The retail investor. Who's going to get fucked during the next bear market as a result of all these treasury plays that fucking implode? And then here comes all the supply that these companies are having to sell in crypto land. You are the dumb retail investor that I'm supposed to be fucking protecting. But from now on, I won't do it unless you're the real deal. real name, real email address, real fucking credit card, and able to pay me really $2.05 a day to get rich. So while some of you are pissed off that I got out fucking early at $1.05 on my last exit and we had to watch it go halted all the way to 260, who the fuck brought you that idea? And the other 261 that went with it. 15 wins in the last 3.5 weeks against one tiny loss, DEVS, that was a double the next day if they hadn't have scammed everybody on the FINRA fucking delisting. We're going to have two piles of dog shit. The companies that shouldn't be in business that all of a sudden got treasury stocks that are ultimately going to be worthless. Down 70, 80, 90% once all the insiders get done dumping all that pipe. And then perhaps even worse, we're going to have legitimate companies, maybe even a whiskey one that we're buying right now for the third time, that are going to get taken under ultimately because they're going to be in earnings calls 6 months, a year, 2 years from now. I don't know when, but it's going to happen. And they have to explain, why did you buy that token? Why didn't you buy this? Why are you being forced into liquidating your entire position, which is going to be tons of supply on the crypto space in the next 12 to 18 months? Why the fuck didn't you stick to your knitting? Why didn't you continue down the path that you told us we were going over the last year or two? I know what the fuck I'm talking about. This is nothing more than insane amounts of greed from investment banking firms that are not only making 10% on these fucking pipes and getting a piece of the action, aka Tom Lee and now Dan Ives style, but they're ultimately selling it at 10, 20, 30, 40x to who? You and not me, but folks that look just like us. They don't care about you. You're nothing but a fucking piggy bank. You're a source of liquidity. You're the fucking idiots that they can lay the big short on like they no doubt did last night and the day before, close to $80 a share on OCTO, probably sitting there sipping the 3 martini lunch. Can you believe how fucking stupid these people are? They're buying a stock that's up 40x and we're laying on the big short and or getting out of our fucking pipe. In many cases, SEC, are you listening? When they're not even allowed to do so? There's no such thing as getting rich quick. You can acknowledge the trend in closing like we are. You can piggyback ISPC and Cask. I've mentioned it before. There you go. Buying it at limit 44. It was cooking up to 54 and they decided to get all over ISPC. It's probably going to cook again. Why? Because all the insiders that are involved in the deal need it higher so they can fucking sell it. And you know what? We'll be right alongside them. But at some point, I'm going to say no more of this nonsense. And I'm going to beat the fucking drum, even if YouTube continues to shadow ban my ass with 300 or 400 fucking views. Don't you ever fucking forget what we've done in the last 2 years. $100,000 is worth more than $1.3 fucking million, and you would have had to pay me a total of about $1,500 to make over 7 figures on your fucking money. Indexing 2/3 and only trading 7 stocks for a third. That is how you get rich over the next 3, 5, 10 years and beyond. And when we have the crash of a fucking lifetime with 60 trillion in debt, a bankrupt social security system, and a third of human capital out of work because of a malicious AI in and around 2035, I'm going to be the guy that not only gets you out in one piece, but we're going to make money all the fucking way down. And until next time, always remember that I love you. And thank you very much for watching.